good. I don't want to do this again. Hi, we're doing ABBACCHIO. We're doing him not only because his design is very interesting to translate in a realistic, believable way, but also because, well, he's the best character ever created. Now, the problem is I don't think I did him justice in this painting, and don't get me wrong, I do think the drawing looks good, I'm proud of it, but the thing is, I finished this a few months ago, and of course I was too scared to paint anything below the shoulders because fabric. So I'm not really sure if he does look believable like a real person, or if again I fall into the trap of drawing him in a realistic style instead of in a believable way to make him look like a real person, which was the whole point of this thing. But I guess you're just gonna stick around and see by the end of the video. But hey, listen, you know who else is sassy, has white hair, yellow eyes and wears purple? It's Preminger, the best character ever created on top of ABBACCHIO. Recently my feed has seen a random explosion of Preminger memes, and I love that. So I'm making an appeal to all the meme makers, please make more Preminger memes. I feel like I wouldn't have to function as a human normally if I could just see a ton of Preminger memes every day. I also have an old meme page, but we're not gonna talk about that today. So it's been almost a year since I recorded my last voiceover in English. And since then I've been watching a lot of movies in English, I've been reading books in English, and I've been listening to, for some reason, a lot of Irish folk music. So my head is fusing so many accents that I don't even know what English is anymore. And also I don't know if anyone remembers about me saying that I'm not really that fluent in English. So of course I decided to read Lord of the Rings entirely in English. I have to say part of this is because I'm not a big fan of the Italian translation. And also the copy I got myself is a very beautiful deluxe edition and it was only available in English, so there's that. But also I thought that somehow reading a book that is written in an English that is much more above my level would be a good way to learn the language. And you know what, I think I was right. To be honest, I truly feel like my vocabulary has expanded a lot since I picked up that book. But let's not talk about Lord of the Rings, because if I get started, there's no one stopping me. So let's talk about my dog. Do you want to see a picture of my very fat dog? Here's my dog. She's very fat. However, if there is one thing that I do want to talk about with somebody, it's the Yakuza game series. Because I remember mentioning it in my last video. I was playing Yakuza 0 at the time, and now I'm at the end of the story of Kiwami, and I'm not feeling really good. I love it, I'm just devastated, because, well, I knew a thing or two before starting the game, and by a thing or two I mean I knew the entire plot, but it's still so devastating, and that's because I love Nishiki. I really like his character, I like his psychological development, and I just want to give him a hug. And that's just what I wanted to say. Sometimes I have to let it out. The thing is, I usually feel bad when I talk too much about topics I'm interested in, but I just realized that, well, this is my channel, and not a lot of people are going to see this, I hope. So I can pretty much talk about what I want. Anyway, so I think I'm just gonna make a new video every time I want to talk about a certain topic. And by a certain topic, it's always the same topics. It's always movies I loved, or games I played, or books I've read. Anyway, you know what will make sense to talk about right now? Of course, Jojo. And since we're drawing a part 5 character, we could talk about part 5 characters. And the thing is, I absolutely love part 5 main cast. I love the main cast in all the parts, but I like talking about part 5 main cast because I like the way the relationships are built within the group. And I think the reason for that is Giorno is new to the group. It's not like in the other parts, the protagonist meets the characters among the way, and they form a group, like in part 4. But here, these characters already knew each other for a few years actually. They were friends already, they had dynamics inside the group. And it's really nice to see those dynamics from another point of view. And those characters are also good on their own. I like the way they're built psychologically. And in part 5 especially, the stand really aligns with the personality of the user. For example, Moody Blues makes a lot of sense for ABBACCHIO. Maybe I'm just making this up, but I feel like it feels right. You know, ABBACCHIO is really stuck in the past because there was a traumatic experience that completely changed his life. And he basically hasn't been living since then. And I think it just makes sense for his stand to try to replicate moments of the past. Also, I think that what ABBACCHIO would want is to go back in time to prevent that event from happening if he could. I think that makes sense, and I think it's nice to see how the stand is written to complete the character writing, and it's not just something that is added, you know what I mean. Anyway, if I listen to this voiceover, I can't help but notice how you can hear my Italian accent, or at least maybe it's because I know I'm Italian, I know I must have an accent of some kind, but I can definitely hear I'm Italian. So let's talk about pasta. What's your favorite pasta? I don't know. How do you make pasta? And also, do you eat pasta every day? Because in Italy it is quite common to have pasta as a meal at least once a day. Or maybe that's just me. I actually never questioned it. Anyway, speaking of being Italian, I don't know if anyone has an idea of what it is like to watch part 5 in Italian. So imagine there's this menacing villain that could potentially kill the main cast, and it's called cheese, or ham, or fish. It's mainly with food. But my personal favorite must be the code name that Diavolo gives himself, which is Solido Naso, which translates to hard nose or solid nose. And I have to take that scene seriously when listening to a name that is hard nose. Or maybe you're talking in public about your favorite character Narancia and people look at you weird and think probably like, what the hell is this kid saying? What does it mean? Why would an orange fight some cheese? But I love when Jojo fans who are not Italian try to pronounce these names. I think it's adorable actually. I love to hear ABBACCHIO. It will be ABBACCHIO, but I've heard ABBACCHIO a lot of times. Oh, and ABBACCHIO is a type of meat actually. And I tend to forget it because it's not really popular where I live. So sometimes I'll go on Google Images and I'll Google ABBACCHIO, searching for images of the character, and I see these pictures of meat. I get so confused every time. And I'm Italian. But yeah, that's what happens in my brain every other time. Every time I watch part 5 and I hear the names, I picture the food in my brain. And this happens in part 5, which is definitely not the most light-hearted. So sometimes I realize that to other people I'm crying over oranges and meat and biscuits. Anyway, I was really excited about finally doing this character. And yeah, it is, like I mentioned, because I think the design is very interesting, but it's not just that. I've always liked ABBACCHIO, but at the same time I can't really take him seriously, you know. It's not definitely my comfort character. I mean, I definitely appreciate his sassiness, and there's that, but maybe the main reason is because I really like his look. I like the choice of the purple lipstick and all, but I don't know why I'm so excited about it. Like, every time I see a purple lipstick I go like, look, it's ABBACCHIO! that doesn't happen with other characters in Jojo. It just this character just alters my brain chemistry in a way that I can't really describe. So I don't really know why I like him this much. I definitely recognize him as a well-written, well-built character, and his his character is very interesting. His way of thinking is very interesting, and on top of that, he's a very tragic character. It does have a very tragic backstory, and I like the way that it's written, but I just can't take him seriously, and I don't know why. All I can say is that I'm definitely doing him every time I see something with an avatar creation menu. Okay, I think I should take a moment to explain what's happening on the screen. Every once in a while, I decided to give ABBACCHIO contact lenses. And I did it because I wanted to keep his yellow eyes, but we're trying to make him a believable character like a real human, so it would only make sense for him to have contact lenses. But then I realized that in the manga he had these bluish eyes, so maybe it would make more sense for his eyes to be of a bluish color before I actually put lenses on. And I know I could have just made the eyes purple and yellow and say they were contact lenses or just say nothing, but where's the fun in that? I don't think there's actually anything else worth of mentioning in this painting. For the hair, I actually used a brush that I made a while ago, but I've actually always hated the way it looks, so I've stopped using that, and I used it on this painting because probably I let the fact that it is in a realistic style intimidate me, so I thought it would be better. And yes, it was maybe a bit easier to block in the shape of the air, but I hated it, so I added all the strands to make it look more, well, realistic, but also organic, less ugly. But I'm sure that I will do it better if I did it now. At least I hope I've improved a bit. And I don't know if I really nailed it or not, but I'm quite proud of the outcome of this portrait. And yeah, there are some things that I will probably do a bit differently now, but I still like it. I think it came out alright. And we're basically done at this point. I'm just adding in all the little details. I'm actually usually very lazy when it comes to details, but I took my time with this once and I had fun. And now I actually took a break and came back to it after a few days, and I'm fixing all the little things such as lighting and saturation and those strands of hair that I didn't quite like, and I'll just flip the canvas, do a little liquify, and we're done. Except that we are not, because those colors are too happy and saturated, and this is real life, and real life is supposed to look sad, so let's turn that saturation down, and this time I think we can say we're actually done. So yeah, bye.